Hi, everyone. Welcome to Her Light Shines podcast, where we celebrate, connect, and edify women from all walks of life. I'm Star Dacia, your host, and this is the great legend, Miss CW. We're on here for a great episode. I'm so happy. This is like my favorite middle school teacher of all time. And for those of you who went to Schumann Middle School, while she was there, y'all will be able to witness that she's literally a legend. So I'm going to just allow you, Miss CW, to introduce yourself to everyone, to those who don't know you.
Okay. My name is actually Yolanda Coben Williamson. Um, I have been known as Miss CW for a very long time. I've taught in the school system for 27 years. Prior to teaching, I taught in my own field of business administration for about 10 years. Graduated from Tuskegee with a degree in business administration and accounting. I came to Chatham County in 1989. That was my first year teaching.
Mm-hmm. Wow, Tuskegee. So tell us about, I didn't know you were an HBCU grad.
Yeah,
Tell
girl.
me, tell me about Tuskegee, because I hear a lot about Tuskegee.
Tuskegee is the baddest of the baddest schools. And um, it was hard. And even though I graduated in the top 10th of my class, it was very, very hard.
Mm-hmm.
And what I like about HBCUs, because my son just recently graduated from Morehouse, is that they get you ready for the world.
Yes.
If you can survive a HBCU, you are definitely ready for the world. They not only give you that book work, but they give you that tough how it's going to really be out in the real world.
Yes, yes. I can say that is true. I went to Clark Atlanta University my first 2 years, and that will forever be my HBCU. Although I'm not an HBCU grad, I will always claim CAU because attending the HBCU is life changing. Like it's just full of black magic everywhere. Like
Yeah.
you see black greatness from all walks of life. And yes, so for those of you out there who went to HBCU, shout out to my HBCU grads. And if you want to go to HBCU, I highly recommend it. It's an experience of a lifetime. Trust and believe that.
I highly recommend it as well because the only way you're going to really know about your culture is through an HBCU. And as I used to stress to you all in when I taught school, because I've been retired now since May of 2015,
Mm-hmm.
I would always stress to my students, go away
Yeah.
off to school simply because you will learn so much about yourself and it will build your strength for what you're going ahead for.
Yes. Yes. So I'm going to roll right into our first segment, the teachers we remember. And I was telling my mom the other day, I was like, you know what, mama? I don't remember a lot of teachers from high school, but I remember all of my elementary and middle school teachers.
Mhm.
And I was younger, and I guess high school, I was like in my own little world and, had my own thing going on. But middle school, especially Schumann, it was literally like a life-changing experience for me. Your middle age years is when you get to know yourself, you're trying to figure things out, you try to explore different in groups that you feel like you're a part of, and that time of your life is super important. And I know that I remember you because you made a very personal impact on my life that I won't say on camera, but when we end this episode, I'm gonna remind you of what you did that kind of like changed my life. And not all teachers care about their students. Some teachers just come to school to collect a check or keep themselves busy, but you are really invested into us. You know,
Yes.
I tell people all of the time, teachers, like being a teacher is one of the most complicated jobs because you're literally crossing 200, 300 plus students every day who come from different situations, who think differently, who learn differently, and you have to constantly adapt to their situation to make that direct impact. So I want people to get to know you more. And what grades did you teach during your career as an educator?
I taught middle grades, 4th through 8th grade. And I did not like really teaching 4th grade graders because they were babies, and they, if I said something, they would just boo-hoo cry. But my favorite grade levels was 5th grade because I could get them whipped up into shape and ready for middle school.
Mm-hmm.
And 7th grade was my thing in middle school.
Mm-hmm.
I love teaching 7th grade because I'm in between the 6th, where you coming from 6th grade thinking you're still a baby, but then I give you that reality check in 7th grade.
Yes.
And you're ready for the 8th grade.
Mm-hmm. By the way, this was my 7th grade math teacher. 7th grade math. So definitely 7th grade was when you touched so many of us, because that middle grade, like you dead in the middle. I don't know, but looking back, we were crazy. I don't know
Yes,
how.
you were.
Yes, like, oh my gosh, y'all really, y'all deserve your flowers, your roses. That's why I had to invite you, because how did you handle us? And I know that we weren't as disrespectful as these kids now.
Oh no,
Were we?
nowhere near it. No.
Okay.
I used to say y'all were bad, but until later on came down the line, I was like, oh wow, they were my kids before were a walk in the park compared to the ones that I last taught in my last 2 or 3 years.
Yes.
But I had to be, even though I was short and small, I think my personality stood tall and direct. And you all listen, I never had a fight in my classrooms from 4th grade through 8th. They never had a fight because everybody knew that I had that business attitude. Yes. And you're going to come in here and learn, or else you ain't going to be in here.
We left the drama outside of Miss CW's door. We left the drama out of, that is, and that shows a lot about you, especially teaching, in inner city schools. So what made you choose to teach inside of inner city schools specifically?
Well, I had 2 reasons for teaching. My daughter that I had prior to teaching, she became school age, and my job working in the business field went to 95%. And I wanted to be able to raise my daughter. And later on, I had my son, because I said I was only going to teach for a few years until whatever. And my second reason was because at that time in 89, there was such a great shortage of teachers. And actually, I was subbing a little bit. And one of the teachers said, you would make an excellent teacher. And I'm like, I never thought about teaching ever in my life. Yes. But then I got to thinking about it seriously, because I wanted to not drag my daughter from place to place, and I wanted to be in one particular setting so that I could raise her. So that kicked the ball off, and I said I was only going to stay for a few years and ended up retiring, and that's the story.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's crazy how God will, redirect the path. And 30 years, what gave you the endurance to overcome the treacherous day-to-day tasks teachers had to go through for 30 years?
You're talking about the many obstacles, right? The many obstacles. It was the fact that I knew that my students needed me. They depended on me to be there. And y'all used to hate when I had to get a sub and be gone, because every day was a different day. And I liked that feel and that flow of being able to just really touch kids. I knew how to teach them because I came through the Chatham County Board of Education system, and I knew that teachers even then didn't teach to every child, and I wanted to be able to do that. And when I found out that I could successfully do that, it became a real big challenge in a real good way. Because wherein even with the math, teaching the math, I taught math to all learners, because if y'all know, y'all had to take them serious notes, and
Those
we did a
standardized
whole
tests.
lot of activities and everything. And I just coming there, and I've taught generations of kids. Sometimes I've taught the mother and the kids, and what kept me there was the fact that my parents wouldn't let me leave. They said, okay, you got one more of my children you got to teach before you decide you're going to retire. So yeah, it was a lot. And the fact that we used to really have fun in there when I taught math, because the biggest thing I think y'all like was the fact that we got to eat during math. Everything had to do with food. And
you made it very relatable. You made math make sense, which was so important to me, because I was more so a writer, reader, but when it came to math, it was more of a challenging subject, but you made it relatable. So how did you think of these many different, lesson plans that you had? Like, how did you make it relatable?
Well, one thing I realized coming up in the Chatham County system, and teachers not really explaining and breaking down things to my understanding, and I had to either figure it out on my own or whatever. That is what drove me to teach children to break math down into steps.
Right.
And if a math teacher can't break down the process of solving a problem in steps, they lose their kids a whole lot. And a lot of times they don't always call on the ones that don't raise their hands. And me, I did the opposite, because a lot of times they would know but would be afraid to answer. So that gave them a little bit more confidence.
Right.
And it worked. I come up with all kind of strategies. Sometimes I have to leave the lesson plan, put that aside, and do it the way I needed to do it. From teaching word problems to solving algebraic equations, everything was done in steps so that you would know how to solve that problem. And it made it much easier. And kids would actually be okay with it.
Mm-hmm. And I know it made me feel good to receive a good grade, after paying attention, listening, learning. And I'm like, I can make a high B, low A in math.
Yeah.
Like, you made kids feel good about themselves, but you also put us to the challenge, and you made us do the work as well. Like, nothing was handed to us in your class.
Oh, no.
At all. Like, we had to work for that good grade. So,
yeah.
Definitely.
Because if you failed the test this week, trust me, you got next week to recoup. I did not retest. I did not allow y'all to talk me into that retest thing. No, I was not that retest teacher. But what we can do is build on what you didn't do this time to make sure that you are successful. I would stay after school with you and tutor you if I needed to.
A lot of
and everything, but we did it. And you had to, y'all already know the rule. My homework must be done.
Yes. Yeah. You really put my classmates and I to the challenge, because, well, I can't speak for myself, but my classmates, they're like, well, I'm not gonna do this homework, but Miss CW homework, I'm gonna make sure I do her homework. She checked every single day to make sure. So
every day
instill that in us. But you said that you stayed after school to tutor us and help us, and you invested so many hours and hours and hours and made sacrifices. I'm pretty sure even when it came to your personal life and grandchildren, children. So you really deserve your retirement. right? And I really want to talk about that. Not only you, but all of the teachers who are retired now. I really look up to you all because my generation, my mom speak on this a lot. We don't stay on jobs, not even for 3 years. Like we'll be like, oh, I don't like this. Let me go and move to something else. So sticking to such a ongoing changing career for 30 years simply because of the community, and the students is impactful. And all of my teachers out there, retired teachers, deserve their roses every single day. And I'm pretty sure you are definitely reminded of how important and special you are. And that leads me to our next segment, the impact after retirement.
Mhm.
So, explain to us, what it means and how it feels to know that you and your colleagues, the big impact you all have made, in society in general after retirement, like after just sitting back and reflecting on everything, all of the years and hard work.
Well, I'm going to tell you, there's not a day that I would go out that I would not see one of my students, and they would be like, "Boy, did I have you were the best teacher that I had," and that makes you feel good. And a lot of my students I still keep in contact with either on Facebook or they have my phone number, because those that went on and decided to go to college or junior college, they would definitely, Miss CW, I need your help because this lady is not teaching this math right or whatever. And I still follow my students. I've taught over 4,000 students in my time of teaching. And those that have gone on to do other things, especially my students who became ministers, they would call me and say, "I'm preaching this place or I'm doing that, this or that. Could you come?" And I definitely supported them and would come and hear them preach or do whatever they're doing. I've attended so many graduations because they thought that I was their favorite teacher and I had to be there. And that made me feel really, really good. I even had to teach my own two children. I taught my daughter in 5th grade and my son in 6th grade.
Mm-hmm.
And I can remember the first time they failed one of my tests and everybody was like, "Whoa." I said,
Wow.
I didn't treat my children any differently from the children that were in class. So that was very important to my kids.
And what school were you?
I taught my daughter at Jacob G. Smith in 5th grade, and I taught my son at Bartlett in 6th grade. He was in the Center for Advanced Learning.
Okay.
And he failed my test, and he was looking at me crazy, but that's okay. I guess the kids thought that him being my kid, he would have all the answers. No, if he didn't do what he needed to do, yep, you failed.
Yes.
But I let them know that they don't get favoritisms just because they know the teacher.
Yes.
So yeah.
And you did share with me on yesterday, I believe, your colleagues, y'all all went to a restaurant. So do y'all have like a society of retired teachers and y'all just go and hang out?
Yeah, well, what we do, we have the Retired Teachers Association, which before the pandemic, we would meet at Carrie Hilliard's once a month. And we do all kind of things in the school. I didn't, but they did because I think I had PTSD from teaching. But no, this was a special gathering for one of my schools that I stayed at a very long time, which was Gadsden Elementary.
Mm-hmm.
And the secretary, Miss Usher, and the data clerk, Helene Bird, and one of my paras, Ms. Nesbitt, they put this all together because we were really, really a family at that school. And that's also important to the success of your child, simply because when the teachers treat each other as family, because at that school, I went through a whole lot of personal things I lost my mom, my house burned down, then I lost my dad, and it was just rolling. But they rallied around me personally, and they brought me through a whole lot of stuff, even though I was still teaching and doing everything I was supposed to. But we were a family, but we had such a wonderful time yesterday. Yeah. But it was something that was very unplanned, and it was at the last minute, and we said that we would do it again, just so that we could see all our old colleagues. It was wonderful.
Yes, amazing. And school is coming back up, so I had to include our next segment. Simply because it's a new day. We're post-COVID, but we're still in COVID. So a lot of us, we're still trying to figure things out and how to continue on with society while still dealing with the different, adversities. So I wanted to ask you some back to school advice that we can share with parents, family members, even students, as we transition into this new school year. So I wrote some tips down, and I want us to basically like expound on them. But my first
tip. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Look, my first tip is prayer. I believe that parents, family members, guardians, they should pray over their children before school, because that's how I was raised. My mom will always pray over me and my brother before we go to class, and we would say affirmations, godly affirmations. I don't know what everyone's religious beliefs are out there, but a lot of things happen, inside of these school buildings, mass school shootings, and you never know. They took prayer out of school. So tell me what you think about, parents really sitting down and saying a prayer over their children before the return.
I think it's a wonderful idea if they choose to do it. I did it with my two and everything, and they never got into any trouble, and they always listened to the teacher and everything. But we're living in such crazy times with the school shootings. And, back in the day, it was the code of the children that you didn't want to snitch. But if somebody's got a gun, children, you got to let an adult know, because not only is your life in danger, but everybody else's life is in danger. Definitely. And it's just unimaginable, but prayer does do it. And just talk to your kids mainly, and let them know the teacher is a standalone. She doesn't have any backup. And when the parent, the student becomes one with the teacher and understand what the goals are, and it makes it so much easier, because we don't have a lot of things that we can actually do or say, versus back in the day we could, do certain things to make your child behave. But the main thing is, if you tell your child that since I'm not in your presence, you have to listen to your teacher, that would be a great big help for a teacher. Because when there are altercations that are going on in the classroom, that is not good, and it keeps not only your child from learning, but all the other kids. And that and that's why I had a very strict policy in my class that whatever foolishness you got going on, you leave it on the outside of that door. You coming in here to learn, and we you can pick the beef up after you leave me. But no, we're not doing that here.
And see, and another reason why we should pray before sending our children to school, we have problems at home, and that's a lot of times those children carry their home issues into the classroom.
And this is what caused them to have really bad days. Even sometimes you can even, and I've been in that position where you're rushing trying to get to school, and you are, come on. When you start fussing at a kid, it changes the whole dynamics of that child's day. So you want to try to avoid from fussing at them and everything. Make sure they get a good breakfast and all
Yeah,
of that good
definitely.
stuff, and just give them that love, that give them that kiss when they get out the car. You know, after my kids got a certain age, they didn't want me to kiss them in front of their peers,
Very.
so we got to do it. You know.
Yes, but that advice is the perfect rollover for my second tip. And my second tip is to build your child's self-esteem and confidence. Yo, tell your child that they're smart. Tell your child that they're friendly, that they're a good friend, they're a good person. Like, build their self-esteem, tell them they're
Exactly.
worthy. Because when they go inside of the school building, their whole energy will change, with the situation, because school can be very overwhelming for children, especially young babies. It's
Yeah.
overwhelming. You have to meet new people. A lot of students are introverted because they're on their phones all of the time, so they're
Oh,
learning different social skills. So you really have to sit and build a child's self-esteem and their confidence levels so they will be able to function in these environments.
yeah. It's very important. It not only is it important, but it will help the teacher, because my motto in my classroom has always been, there is no option for failure in here. And when your child comes to school knowing that when they come to Miss CW class, I don't have a choice, I can't fail. You know, I got to do my best and I got to try as hard as I can. That
Mhm.
makes it much more easier for the teacher, because a lot of teachers, the teachers that you're getting nowadays, they're not going to go that extra mile to say, well, what's wrong, Johnny? You know, they're not going to
Yes.
say, well, they just don't do it anymore.
Mhm.
But I want to know everything that's going on with my students. And even though I taught hundreds sometime at the same time, um
Mhm.
it's very important. It was important to me to know what was going on so that I could help them through and help them be more successful.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Because I know it's what helped me, when I was in your class. And what year was that? 07, 08? When I, when I was
Somewhere in there.
Yeah, when I was in your class, when I passed the test and I knew that I could do it, I knew that I could perform the skill. It gave me confidence. So,
That's right.
every day when I was looking forward to go inside of math class, I was like, okay, what's new? What I'm gonna learn today? But
That's
if you're not confident in that area, it's just a drag. It's a drag sometimes. And to all of my teachers who are listening, who are still in the classrooms, literally, your class can change a child's whole day. So if a child
sure does.
has 4 or 5, 6 classes and your class is the best, they're going to come to school just to go to your class, because I can attest to that. A lot of my friends, they only came to school to go and see a particular teacher.
This is true.
So your impact is so, 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 so important. Definitely.
Yes.
So
And,
go ahead. What you were saying?
and we will never forget that. You remember Pi Day? Pi Day, Pi Day. That was the grand finale of all math situations. And everybody got to eat all day long, and parents got to come to school and learn how to calculate pi. We ate all day
That's
long.
a throwback. I forgot all. I forgot all about that. I remember.
Well,
Yeah.
see, that's what some of the teachers remember me as,
Mhm.
especially at Schumann, because Pi Day, everybody looked forward to that, because we would have so much food and everything had to be in a circle. And I literally had 100% participation.
Yes. We down for food.
Yes,
We down for nothing
definitely.
else.
So yeah. So when you got something like that to look forward to, and you're going to get graded for it and everything, you get
Mhm.
3 math grades, and you could get 3 100s. If you was failing,
Yes.
you had something, you knew you had something in your pocket, you could really pull it off.
Yes. We have
Yeah.
something to look forward to as well. Like, you have to
Yes,
keep that
definitely.
momentum up. My third tip is teach your children manners and respect.
Absolutely.
And as the new generation, of teachers that I'm speaking towards, and I'm a part of this group, our tolerance levels aren't as, I wouldn't say high, but we have a very strong clapback game, because with this generation of students, we can't baby them. It's if you say something rude to me, instantly I'm gonna say something rude back, because that's is literally how you have to talk to these children. And I hate that it's like that, but we're competing with TikTok, Facebook, Roblox, Instagram, the whole world, this whole fake society. So please teach your child some manners and respect. Like, their teacher are adults, like prime example. Let me see. I've had so many instances where a child would try me. Okay, you know what though? I won't say this. A child has never tried me, but they want to know my business. So they'll be like, "Oh, Miss Hudson, who you talk to?" Or, "You should talk to him. You should talk to." I'm like, stay in the
I had that too.
Oh, well, what you doing when you go home? What you eating for dinner? And listen, I'm not saying that's bad, but children, we have to establish boundaries.
Yes, we
What,
do.
what's your opinions and thought takes on that? Because
I've gotten those questions asked of me also before I got married and everything. But what I usually do on the very first day of school is I introduce myself. I let them know that I am a single mother, just like your mother is a single mother. And I have 2 children, just like your mother have children. And I'll give them an opportunity to ask me any questions that they want, as long as it's not too deep down and personal. I've even had the ones that say, "Well, you're single, my daddy's single." No, we're not doing that. Okay, we're not.
yes,
They'll try to give you the hookup and everything,
Mhm.
but just letting them know that my life is not, because I think that your students think that because you're a teacher, you live in this great big huge mansion on top of the hill, when we actually live in the same neighborhoods and everything, and we go through the same thing with our children that your parents go through with you.
Mhm.
And just let them know that it's just it's just me and you, and we can work it. We can work it. But no, teachers are going to have to be, and I know this is going to be hard for your group, to be more patient. And I was never a person who had patience until I began to teach school. Because some kids, they act out because of things that are going on at home. They might have got bullied on the bus or whatever the situation, and they come in there. And I've had kids who were bigger than I was, and I'm gonna tell you, I could calm them down in a minute.
Oh, you
And
have
it's not gonna be that little nice, easy now. Calm down. No, I don't do that. Okay, sit down. Let's get busy. And then once you finish what you're doing, come to my desk and we'll talk about what's going on and see if we can find a solution to it. And most times it's always a solution, but like I said, the teachers now don't have the time, nor are they really paying attention to what's going on with those students who are having issues and everything. And I get that, but teaching is something that you have to either be born to be able to do it, or you're not. And that's the thin line there. But
and it's things I would say
to go in that classroom praying too. Trust me.
Yes, it's 2 things.
You will get tried.
Always, all of the time. And patience is key. Patience is key. It's 3 things that's key to teaching: patience, passion, and preparation.
Oh yeah.
You have to be prepared, So just how teachers have to be prepared, students have to be prepared as well. And that's why it's a lot of dysfunction inside of classrooms most of the time, because the students aren't prepared to come in the classroom and learn, and the teachers aren't really prepared to deal with all of the tasks they have to deal with. So preparation is key. So please prepare your children now. Prepare them.
That is definitely the key. And sometimes I've had to take the lesson plan and throw it aside and just do it the way I felt that a child could really connect with a certain skill. And it always worked, but then I had the mindset to know, okay, this is not working, let me try this way, let me try that way. And sometimes my lesson plans would be all mapped out, and I have to take it in a whole nother direction depending upon what skill I'm teaching.
Definitely.
But you have to be able to jump in and out of that character.
Yes,
and that's a lot,
Definitely. So the last tip that I want to talk about, back to school advice, is encourage your student, your child, to join clubs, sports teams, etc. Extracurricular activities. So give your thoughts on that.
Oh, that is so important. If you're trying to raise a child and keep your child out of trouble and gangs and all of that other kind of stuff, it is essential that they have something to do. Whether it's participating in clubs, whether it's chorus, band. And I love the fact of children being involved in music. And even though music, band and chorus is not an essential part of elementary school, it should be, because when your child is doing music or band, it gives them the ability to focus more in class. Clubs, get them involved in clubs, get them involved in the city sports teams and everything. And always support them whenever they have games or whatever. And you'll see a great big difference. Your child will come up well-rounded. Take them places and do things. And, other than just to the water park, take them to some things that really have meaning to it,
Definitely. And you just gave me a thought. I want to list all of the different, what is it called? Little League sports teams, as well as clubs in the city of Savannah.
Oh yeah.
I want to do we have like a directory for all of the things the youth can do? That's something I want to work on if it's not out already.
I'm not sure if they do, but I can tell you some of the things that really helped my children. And I'll start with my son since he's the youngest. He was involved in Chatham County 4-H from 4th grade slap through college, because even though he was a 4-H'er, he went to 4-H camp, went to 4-H meetings, did project achievement with DPA, and once he got to high school, he became president of Chatham County 4-H, and he became vice president. While he was in college, he would come back home and volunteer and stuff like that. So 4-H was a great big part of his life, as well as Chatham County Youth Commission.
Okay.
And he was in there under our current mayor, which is Van Johnson. So Van Johnson and I know each other well, because he took that. There were kids who never went on an airplane before that got to fly and go to different places and do different things, teaching them those leadership qualities instead of trying to be like everybody else. How about doing something, out of the norm and start something on your own? It was important. My son was involved in a whole lot. Even at Savannah Arts, where he graduated, his major was band, but he also did show choir and different stuff. My daughter as well. We did Girl Scouts. We did ballet and I know everybody in the school system should know Maxine Patterson. She had a dance school over there on Lincoln Street. My daughter did dance with Maxine Patterson. She played city basketball.
Yes,
she did all of that stuff.
Very active. You didn't play when it came to recreation. No. Education and recreation, I promise you, is what will save your child.
It will save them and make them want to go on to do something bigger and better.
Yes, definitely. Well, that's the end of that segment. make your comments below. And this was a really good segment. I don't think people really give those types of back to school advice. Is really important. And of course, give them on a sleeping schedule, make sure they're well rested. Make sure they eat a good breakfast. If not, they provide breakfast at the school. Just a list of things, because it's not just about having something to wear to school and having the new pair of shoes and the hairdos and the haircuts. There's so much other stuff we have to prepare our children for psychologically and spiritually. Yes. all around, it all ties in together.
Yes.
So that was great. Mm-hmm. But that brings us to the end of this episode. I'm really happy as ever that I have a relationship still with my 7th grade teacher. And this will show you, Miss CW, the legend. She's a legend. And you have those teachers out there who make such a huge impact on their students, communities, even their families. You taught your children, and I didn't even know that. That's a fun fact. And that's crazy. They were able to teach them. But the teachers we remember, so important. And I'm so glad you came on my podcast today. So do you have any last words for everybody? For me?
Just enjoy retirement if you're retired. And for those new teachers go in with strength, number one, and just, be determined that you're going to be that adult in the classroom and nobody's going to push you around or bully you. Okay. And for the parents and the students, make sure when you come to school that you are definitely ready mentally, emotionally, and physically, meaning have your notebooks, paper, and pen, because I don't know if teachers do this now, but you always got homework on my first day of school. But that's just me. I'm just saying I have to set the momentum.
Oh, yes, I remember. Yes. Well,
but no, I wish everybody have a very beautiful start and finish of the school year, and make it the best that you can, because with the pandemic coming back around, we don't know if we're going to have to go virtual. You all have to go virtual again, but it would be nice this time, if you got to go back, that if the school system would get books instead of all of this abstract learning, because the abstract learning is really not working, and it's not giving the parents an opportunity to help their children. Yes. And besides, it's not a really good thing, because when you get to college has not changed. You're going to buy them books.
Oh my goodness.
And yes. You're going to have to read. So, yes. I mean, they need to have that
yes. reinforcement. I'm going to have to bring you back to talk about that alone, to prepare for college. That's a whole nother topic.
A whole nother thing. And when I tell you, it's something, mm-hmm. and and a lot of people will tell their kids, and we'll talk about that when we talk again, that there's no money to go to college. Oh, yes, there is, baby. Mm-hmm. You just got to know where to look.
Definitely. So I definitely will be bringing you back on to talk about that, because that's super, super, super important. And once again, thank you for joining us. Thanks everyone for watching. Be sure to follow us at Her Light Shines on Instagram. Visit our website, www.herlightshines.com, and I will see you soon. Peace.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thanks.